other place, you'll see lions. There's a reason why Jesus is called the Lion of Judah.
Yeah.
Okay. And once people found out that I liked lions, then they started giving them to me, made up of all kinds of. I've got lions made out of everything you can think of. I've got glass, I've got marble, you name it. And when I would travel, I would look for lions and pick up lions. And here's a funny story. This is funny. I preached a series of sermons on sacrifice at the church. You should give up, make sacrifices. And so I just said, next Sunday we're going to do a drive. I want you to take something you really love, and I want you to bring it, and you're going to give it away.
Ooh, all right.
And I decided that I was going to take one of my lions, and I had this lion that was made out of shells. I love that lion.
Yeah.
And I took the lion. I was caught up in the spirit, man. I took the lion, and everybody was surprised, put their stuff out on the table. I put my lion out on the table, and somebody came and got that lion. And I thought, sure, when they found out how much I love it,
they was going to bring it back.
They were going to bring it back.
No, sir.
They never brought it
No.
back. In fact, to make it worse, the sister from the church who took it sends me a card every once in a while with a picture of it.
Of it in her house.
Yeah, and she just tells me, she calls him Stan the Man. She says, Stan the Man is doing just fine. Just wanted to bring you an update.
Yeah. Here we are again with another opportunity to sit with one of our elders here at the William E. Pennell Center for Black Church Studies. It is my great honor and great privilege to be sitting with Dr. Stan Long. We've been going through all these archives. We're reading about in 72 how the Theological Studies program for Black ministers begins. The Theological Studies program takes in, I think it's 15 or 16 students. 10 of them go on to complete master's degrees. In 74, it's officially a program. Dr. Pennell is asked to lead the program. Then we've got some transitions in leadership. So by the time you come in the 90s, in the midst of 90s LA, how did you feel stepping into that role?
It was a challenge because Rodney King had just been experiencing what he did there in LA.
Yeah.
And President Hubbard called me. I was serving on the board at the time.
Okay.
And said the students are upset that what's going on in Los Angeles, and we don't even have anybody here running the Black Pastors program.
Yeah.
And could you come down 2 days a week? Just come down 2 days a week, hold it together until we can decide where we're going. And that's how I got started into running that program. And at that time, Fuller was riding the crest of the wave as far as popularity. You had the big stars, Lou Smead, Martin, all the big draws to the seminary, but it was not that endearing as far as the African American community was going.
Yeah.
And the really big challenge, I think, was getting the African American students who came to feel comfortable in the environment so that the learning experience was really meaningful for them, and it just wasn't an uphill climb. In reality, what Rick Stevenson and I was trying to do was to provide an environment that a student would have had if they had gone to an all African American college. We just wanted to create that kind of support. So we did all kind of things like get-togethers, parties, and so forth, trying to make them feel at home as much as we could.
Were there any particular individuals or names that you remember from that time that were significant to the work that you were trying to do there at Fuller?
Well, I think Hubbard was significant. I think Dave Hubbard really was trying to find a way to make Fuller a contributor to solving the problem.
Yeah.
He was going to stand with us no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think Bill would also back that up, that if it wasn't for Hubbard, none of that would, I don't even think the Black Pastor program would be there.
Yeah.
I think in Hubbard's mind, I think he thought that we could make our own way. But I don't think he was fully aware of some of the things that got in the way of us making our own way, which was proven to be true when he appointed a ethnic committee to make major changes in the institution. And one of the changes that was suggested was that every class had to include in its syllabus something written by a ethnic author or a woman. And then when they got pushback from the faculty on that, I think that was like an eye opener that this problem is deeper than I thought it was.
Yes, sir.
I don't think he expected that. Then he got pushback from the trustees on that too.
Yes, sir.
And basically just they ended up letting the guy who was running the committee go. And to me, that was such a small, that was just a small minor piece to ask.
Yes.
And if we couldn't get that, I mean, that was disheartening to me too. I mean,
it was that small piece that was so symbolic of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
It was just that small little tip, but it let you know there was something much more massive there. And
absolutely.
I think the thing about what you just shared that's shocking to me is to hear you talk about that happening in your time.
It happened. I was there.
Because we've had just recently a recent push again to make sure that syllabi are diverse, to make sure that the voices, that you have scholars of color and women represented. And the pushback is often, but these are the experts in my field. And they're all that these white men are these are the experts in my field. And so again, we're talking 90s.
Yeah.
We're still fighting that same fight.
Yeah, you would think we'd be past that by now. That's just, that's so disheartening.
Yeah.
That's disheartening.
I think if there's a silver lining in that, it's that the fight is still there, but the voices that are for us now are so much more than the voices that are against us.
You know, another interesting thing was Hubbard asked me to do a study of why we weren't finding more acceptance of the program in the larger community.
Okay.
I mean, by larger, I mean the Fuller community.
Yeah.
And I told him a story. I said, you know, there's a man who had a farm, and he was raising chickens on his farm. And then he had an experience with a pigeon, and he decided that he wanted to bring pigeons as a part of his farm. And what he found was, I can't serve pigeons the way I was serving my chickens.
Correct.
That I have to make some adjustments in my farm, major adjustments, if I really wanted the pigeons to be a part. And I said, that is where Fuller is. And I'm not convinced that Fuller is willing to make those major adjustments. And it proved to be true.
Yes, sir. This is the analogy. Like you made up the pigeons and the chickens. I make up the Catholic Church analogy, which means you have a wonderful living room. Technically, we could make your living room a Catholic church. Technically. But in order to actually make it function, we'd probably have to tear it down and rebuild parts of it.
Yeah.
For you, what are some of those places that we've got to tear down maybe a little bit more, or at least do some demolition or do some expanding?
Well, we definitely need more scholars of color. I mean, that's I mean, you don't even get a good education without
Yeah.
some scholars of color
Yeah.
who don't follow the party line.
Yeah.
I mean, you need some breath in there just to bring some balance and some stimulation.
Yeah.
I think that has to be done intentionally. The diversity is obvious. It is empowered.
Yeah.
It's in positions of power.
Yeah.
It's influencing the thinking and the direction. One of the things that the students kept complaining about when I was there was, we don't have any, where's the black professors? You know, we need some black professors. We need somebody that understands our environment and where we're going to be trying to do ministry. And we could never get them to stay, even those that would come in and be guests for a while. They just didn't stay. And I got the impression that the guest faculty was having the same problem that the students were having.
Ooh.
As far as feeling a part of the norm.
Yeah.
You know, being embraced and respected.
I want to show you a picture. This is something that I am quite proud of right now. I have on the mantle, you talked about making students feel at home. So in the Pinnell Center, we have kind of our community room that's just like a living room. Mm-hmm. On the mantle, I have a picture of all of the existing black faculty. Now, when I started, there were 4 or 5 of us. This is a picture now of that mantle and all of the black faculty, full-time faculty. That doesn't include the 4 to 5 other adjunct and affiliate faculty.
Good. That's good. That's very good.
Yeah. The ones to my right and left are the chief academic officer and the chief operating officer of the institution.
That's good. That's very encouraging. That's very encouraging.
2 years ago was not the case.
You know, you've got a better story now than we had. And that story needs to be told more. I'm not sure that the African American community knows the changes that have taken place at Fuller. You know, people play old tapes and they keep playing them until there's a new story to cause them to change. And I think you got more now to tell, to let them know that Fuller is a place where they can come and will be received. And there's good things happening that wasn't happening 10 years ago, but there's good things happening.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want us to miss the influence of one person's vision and not realize that each of us has the opportunity to use our platform to influence what happens, even whatever that circle might be.
Yeah.
We greatly applaud what Bill Pinnell did, but Bill was one person who used his influence to do what we are celebrating now, 50 years later. What could your influence be if you had the same mindset to use your platform to make things better? There's a saying, and I'm sure you know it, that we should be planting trees that we're not going to sit under. And if we all had that attitude, who knows, 50 years from now, what somebody could be celebrating about our contribution. And you in particular. I mean, just you serving right now, but boy, can you imagine 50 years from now what your contribution will have made?